subscribe, and ring the bell to never miss an update. Today on Lady Mary Beth, I'm in Apalachicola, Florida. It's an area that was discovered in 1513 and under Spanish rule until 1763. And we will pop into the Tin Shed. It's a shop here that features all kinds of nautical antiques. Come along. Welcome to the Tin Shed Nautical and Antique Shop in Apalachicola, Florida. I'm glad to take you along while I'm on vacation here. And actually, this is the most comprehensive maritime collection east of the Mississippi River. And I'm sure they have lots of treasures that you probably don't find at your local antique shop. That might be great for Halloween. And I see lots of wood carvings and a shark and some other things that would actually add interest to your table and home decor. Let's take a look at some of these. And you might be thinking, I don't live near the coast, why would I need this? But you can take one element and create a beautiful tablescape with that, or even for your home decor. I just absolutely love adding a seaside theme to my table. And wouldn't this piece be great with some lace and vintage glass as a centerpiece, or perhaps an item of interest on a buffet? And you don't want to always go with the traditional. I think it's nice to change it up. And this wood-carved pelican is quite handsome, $4.95, and a great opportunity to bring something home that could add some interest. And these model ships are actually highly collectible, and the prices are fair considering that they do cost a lot more if you order them online. And these are all handmade and just quite something. And my father's very interested. He's with me today, and he sailed in the Merchant Marines and took a commission in the Navy while he was at Texas A&M University. And this is a replica of the Cuddy Sark. You're probably thinking of Scotch whiskey, but it's actually a historic sailing ship and the fastest of its time. It's now a visitor attraction in Greenwich, London. And you can see so many opportunities for decor here. It kind of reminds me of the 70s with the captain's wheel. And some is a bit whimsical, of course, but there are some historical treasures here. And look at this, a collection of knots, sailor's knots that are framed. This really is something special, and it probably costs a lot to have those brass plates made and have it framed, so you're really getting a deal, especially if you know someone that collects. And wouldn't these lights be interesting for maybe a pool house? Add really some interest. I quite like that. The knotted rope bottles, I think, would be a great addition to an outdoor tablescape. And I've seen lots of DIYs on these, and it's a lot of work to hot glue the rope, and there you've got it. Lots of antique maritime lanterns. And you're probably wondering who would want to collect these. They're actually quite expensive on the secondary market, and they do add some interest to your outdoors. And there are different colored lights, because colored lights are always the side lights. Red meaning port side, and green would be starboard. And that's very important to be able to communicate with other ships. And really some interesting pieces here today. I'm so pleased to have found these, and I know I did not take them home. And the duck decoys, it's funny, anytime I have a charity event and we have a nice donation of a carved wooden duck, it always gets into a bidding war. Wouldn't these be great? For $25, you can have a wooden shelf made for these brackets, and that could be a really great way to display. And Gatco is a leading brass manufacturer. They do lots for bathrooms, household fixtures, and I think that would be a steal. Could probably fit that in my suitcase. And an oversized brass teapot. I can see flowers there as a centerpiece. I'm really amazed at all the brass that they have here today. I wouldn't have expected it. Look at those wall sconces, just waiting for some candles. Would really elevate your dining room experience. I like that. And more lanterns. I'm just amazed at all that they have here. And, I think they're right that they probably have the most comprehensive collection this side of the Mississippi. And Apalachicola does have a history, a very deep history with Native Americans. And I'm glad that they represent that here. Some really great collectibles, including salt and pepper shakers. How about that? It's really fascinating to learn about that history in Florida. And the first Apalachicola Indians were members of the Mississippian culture, and later tribes included the Seminoles and the Creeks. And early trade between the Spanish and Creek Indians was mostly produce and fur. The Spaniards came in the 1700s. Some nice bookends. And lots of flags. I see a German flag hanging. They must have known we were coming. And some really neat things that you could bring back and add to your decor. It's not the boring souvenir t-shirt. Wouldn't that shark be awesome hanging in your pool house? And this is a compass that you probably saw in the previous segment in Port St. Joe, Florida, at the antique shop, the Bay Breeze. And this Navy helmet, that's a Mark V, which was the most popular and beloved helmet for the Navy. And the Mark V was around from the 1800s until about the 1950s. I just love seashells. I think they add such interest to a table. I'm always looking to add these. And I had a jewelry box, sort of like this oval one when I was a kid. And that was one of my fun items to pick up in Galveston, Texas at the souvenir shop. It'd be a great little gift to take home. And, oh, there's more outside. How about that? Let's see what they've got for us. Some seashells, something to add to the patio. I have a feeling some of these might be imported. I don't think that they're all local to Florida. But definitely something that could dress up your outdoors. I just love seashells. I really do look for shells when I travel, not just on the beach, but in shops, because it just adds such interest. I picked up a Florida lightning whelk, and I have that on my coffee table. On my end table, I also have some seashells displayed. And it's really perfect for the summer. I never get tired of it. And look at these. Wouldn't that be some great seating? Very masculine. Lots of wood carvings here today. Look at this antique car. Certainly did not expect to see this on my Florida antique shopping visit. And it's quite a beauty. Let's look at this piece here. It's a Boyce motometer. It was patented in 1912 and used in cars to show the temperature of the radiator. It was founded by a German immigrant, Hermann Schleich, in Long Island, New York in 1912. And it was made in different models to fit cars. And it actually was the first aftermarket device added to automobiles. And later it became a standard or sometimes optional item that you can actually order with your car. It was very important to make sure your car did not overheat. So I learned something new today about the Boyce motometer and this fabulous antique car. Now let's go outside and take a look at some of the yard art. And I know you're probably thinking, this is too much, I don't want my yard to look like this, but take one piece like this pink flamingo and imagine how that could really dress up your backyard. Maybe an area where you sit and have your coffee and have something interesting to look at. And that's what I try to do if I'm at an antique shop, whether it's yard art or vintage glass. Just take a step back and find one item that could add some interest to your home and decor. And 1982 is calling. Have not seen one of these phone booths in quite a while. I really like the interesting, not only nautical and seaside items, but unique finds here today. And there's another vintage car, number 9. And I think this is such a neat visit. I didn't purchase anything here today, but I did learn a lot, and that's worth something too. I can't wait to show you around another shop in Apalachicola, Florida. This is the downtown area. Lots of great seafood restaurants and shops. It's a very historical city, the second oldest in Florida. And even before the city was founded, the area surrounding Apalachicola had quite a steeped history. Remnants of the Native American cultures date back to the Middle Archaic period, 2000 BCE. And really a neat place. And lots of artists in this area too. I love all of that local art. And I did find a blue crab art block that I purchased in Mexico Beach, Florida, that I have in my gift closet now for someone special. And I think it's always neat. Look at this repurposed bed frame. Great idea. And certainly lots of talented folks in this area of Florida. And historical buildings. There is a wharf also. They were quite important in the lumber industry, and just really an amazing town, and I highly recommend visiting. And now we're going to pop into the Apalachicola Sponge Company. And you're probably thinking, why would we want to see sponges? No, they're not for your kitchen. It's really interesting, and some history here too with the town. So let's pop in and take a look. Oh, I see so many things I can add to a tablescape. No surprise there. And lots of deep sea divers there, and also diving for sponges. From the mid-1870s to the early decades of the 20th century, Apalachicola was part of Florida's sponge industry. And here's another Mark V Navy diver's helmet. I'm thinking this could be a reproduction. It seems to be in really good shape. And these are actually quite coveted and go for a lot. And I just adore coral. It is the lace of the sea, and it pairs nicely with chinoiserie. I highly recommend that you consider adding that to your decor. And look at this red pipe organ coral, $95. That's actually a fair price. I have a huge piece I got in an antique shop and use it for my tablescapes. And here are some more of those sponges that are so useful. And you're probably wondering, why was that even an industry? But actually by 1895, over 100 men in Apalachicola made their living in the sponge industry. And they would often go to sea for 4 weeks at a time to collect the sponges. And it's nice that we have some pieces here at this shop so that we can see what it's all about. Some more helmets. And they also have some other coral shapes and sizes too. I like that $45 piece at the top. And I really think that it's a great way to add kind of a summer look to your decor or table. And it doesn't have to stand alone. You could certainly pair it with other items. And I grew up with coral being a part of our coffee table decor for a good part of the year. My mother was from Galveston Island. And I encourage you to think about that, because you might find a small piece at an antique shop. But this, I don't think that I'll pick up today. That's not something that I would like in my decor, but Florida Gators. And here we've got some antique china cabinets, paintings. Let's see what else we can find here. Love that style. Another Navy diver's helmet. I really think these are reproduction. They do have some authentic pieces, but this one I think is a remake, and still very popular, surprisingly. Here's some larger sponges. Really great pieces. And again, some work from a local artist. I just love to see the different items that you find in other parts of the country. These are some vintage toys. And certainly a bit unexpected during our Florida vacation. And let's see what else we can find. Oh, that's a big piece. And of course, there are different types of coral, and the values are different as well. And here's some small sponges for cleaning your face. I like that. That's easy to fit in the suitcase too. Nice little purposeful souvenir to bring someone, very useful. Perhaps pair that with some facial scrub. Oh, these are stunning pieces. And I think you will get lots of use out of the coral, even a small piece. I found one recently at an antique shop. I'm loving the blue. Thought about putting this maybe in my bag to hand carry on the plane. I'm just worried it could get broken, so that'll have to be for next time when I'm driving. And they also have some old bottles. A lot of towns had bottling companies. I grew up in a small town in Texas, and they had their own company. And it was really neat. I just took that for granted and thought every town had one. And back then, transportation was more difficult, so that's why you would have a local bottler. And you'll notice the shape here. You have a lot that are kind of tall or squarish. The contour bottle that you know with the Coca-Cola Company is something they didn't actually have originally, but they later patented that. Hires, carbonated beverage, these are brands I've heard of. And believe it or not, there are a lot of bottle collectors out there. Here's one from 1916 to 1923, the Chero Cola Bottling Company. Was probably local. And a muskrat swamp rabbit. I think I'll pass on that. That's definitely local. The Florida swamps. Thanks for coming along today to the Tin Shed in Apalachicola, Florida. Sure had fun discovering some different types of antiques, all about nautical and some vintage items. Thanks again for joining Lady Mary Beth. Elevate your everyday with interesting antiques.